Hi, I'm Ryan Szymanski, curator for Battleship New Jersey Museum and Memorial, and today I'm here with Lieutenant Robert Pfeiffer, who is a surface warfare officer and the combat systems officer in the pre-commissioning crew for USS Savannah. By the time you're watching this, though, he will be a plank owner on USS Savannah.
On behalf of the Secretary of the Navy and the President of the United States, I hereby place United States ship Savannah in commission. May God bless and guide this warship and all who shall sail in her.
So, Lieutenant Pfeiffer, can you tell me about your new ship?
Absolutely, Ryan. So behind us is USS, pre-commissioned unit Savannah for now. She is a Littoral combat ship, an LCS-2 class. As you can see, she is a trimaran design. So she's about 400 feet long and draws about 18 feet of water. So it makes her pretty flexible. It makes her a very good asset for littoral operations. It's kind of what we're designed to do.
So, previously you told me that you had served on an Arleigh Burke-class destroyer, which is 3 or 4 times larger than this. How does the Littoral combat ship compare?
So actually, Ryan, the destroyer is not that much bigger than us. We're about 100 feet shorter than the destroyer, 4,000 tons lighter, and a good bit wider, actually, oddly enough. We have a bigger flight deck than the destroyers, believe it or not. The really difference is that our crew size is a lot smaller, so we're doing a lot more with a lot less. And, as a consequence, we've got some incredible sailors that I think are the envy of the rest of the Navy in terms of their training and their capabilities. That explains it a little bit. The mission set's a lot different as well. Again, we're designed for littoral operations, so we're kind of meant to operate closer into foreign country shores and conduct operations there. We can do both. We can do any of one of 3 warfare areas too. We're kind of designed to do one of those at a time. We can do anti-submarine warfare with an anti-submarine package. We can do surface warfare with the surface warfare package, and then we're also capable of doing mine warfare with the mine warfare package. In each of those particular mission areas, we actually swap out part of the crew for specialists in that particular area.
Well, that's no surprise, because the battleships could basically only do one thing, surface warfare.
Do pretty well, though, as I understand.
Pretty darn well, we think. But you can't swap that package out. Battleships make terrible minesweepers, and too loud for any submarine stuff.
But like I said, the destroyer is very multi-mission as well. I can say that about them. They're mostly meant for anti-air warfare, surface warfare, anti-submarine warfare. They can do a lot of the same things we can do. The difference being, though, that again, we have the ability to do it a lot closer into shore than a destroyer necessarily would want to risk going to. And again, we're kind of geared to be able to conduct those operations in a little different way than the destroyer would be able to. So it gives us a little bit of an edge at that point.
The destroyers have the nickname Tin Cans. Do you use the same nickname for LCSs, or is there a...
That's another interesting point, actually. So we were looking at behind us here is not actually a steel ship. That's an all-aluminum ship. So very different. I guess you could call us aluminum can if you wanted. Actually, I've already heard the name beer can float around a couple times with some of my sailors. So, but yeah, we're not quite the same from that standpoint either. I don't think people really refer to our destroyers today as tin cans anymore. They're a little more expensive and a little more comprehensive than a World War II type tin can was.
For sure. So, coming from preserving a steel ship, what sort of maintenance work is different on an aluminum ship? I can see you don't have a paint coating on the upper works.
That's actually probably the biggest difference. We haven't had to do a lot of preservation yet because we're brand new, luckily. And hopefully I won't be around when we need to. I'll have rotated off by then and gone on to other things. But yeah, the main thing is we don't actually paint the upper decks or any of the upper works of the ship, which is fantastic if you're a boatswain mate because it saves you a lot of time that you can go do other maintenance and other things with your time other than having to paint the ship and bust rust. So another advantage, Ryan, of the LCS, we're kind of built for speed. That's another thing, I guess, the battleship was kind of designed with this in mind. We've got that a little more maxed out, if you will, in our stats. So we can go in excess of 40 knots, which is above 50 miles per hour.
That is a lot for a warship.
For a 6,000-ton warship, that's pretty dang fast. So what allows us to do that, we've got 4 engines, we've got 2 gas turbines and 2 diesels, and 4 shafts, and then basically we're powered by a jet dry system, sort of similar to like a jet ski. So that allows us to reach those insanely fast speeds, and then the ship itself is light enough to be able to sustain that. It's pretty impressive to go that fast in something that large.
So you don't have propellers. Do you have rudders?
So no, again, the jets are actually steerable, so we steer the jets in order to actually maneuver the ship.
Wow. Is it a traditional helm steering wheel that you're using?
No. But each individual jet is controlled at a separate control column, if you will.
Okay.
They can all be controlled together, or the computer system can have them all controlled independently for docking and mooring. The traditional ship doesn't necessarily have.
Yeah, so we met on the Battleship Alabama in Mobile, where this ship was being built, and having both been on that ship, there are a lot of differences between this one and that one. The hull, the steering, what else?
What we're looking at behind us is a Independence Class LCS. She is 400 feet long, about 100 feet wide at the beam. As you can see, she's a trimaran design. She draws about 18 feet of water, and she's capable of sustained speeds of 40 knots. And she's about 6,000 tons displacement, roundabouts. So at the base stats for our armament, you can see here in the front, we've got the Mark 110s, a 57 millimeter guns capable of air and surface warfare. And then you can't really see it from this angle, but we also have a CRAM air defense system. It's very similar to the phalanx that Battleship New Jersey was outfitted with in the 80s. It's kind of the great-grandson of that. So it's a CRAM, it's a CWIS, essentially radar mounted with the RAM missile, which makes it a very effective platform for shooting down anti-ship missiles. And we can also be outfitted with additional kind of weapons and equipment for the mission package that's loaded on board. We're also air capable, so we have a flight deck. We have a hangar, so we potentially can embark the SH-60 as well as several other types of helicopters.
In the 80s, New Jersey could embark at helicopters but didn't have any assigned. Do you have an assigned air group, or is it more like whatever you need at any given time, like the mission modules?
Well, for the ships that deploy, they actually have a helideck that will be assigned, and we'll go deploy with them and work up with them. So, but for now, yeah, we're sans helo because our mission's commission, as we say.
That makes sense.
Honestly, a lot of it. One of the things that came to mind is kind of like seamanship navigation is very different on a modern ship versus a really very traditional ship at that point. So in World War II, your navigation would have been very much visual and radar. As you know, they would have a whole navigation team on the bridge, helping them to kind of maneuver into port, shoot bearings and nav aids. This ship is actually not designed for us to operate in that way. We've got a electronic navigation system that allows us to basically follow a course in and have precise enough fixes to be able to maneuver without having to take visual fixes and so on and so forth. But it's still capable of doing that if we need to, but it's not the way we're designed to operate.
And that all ties back into being able to operate with a significantly smaller crew.
Right. I didn't mention this earlier, but yeah, our crew size is significantly smaller than a battleship. We have a 40-man core crew, and then we'd usually have about 30 extra people for the mission module, depending on what that's operates. So it's about 70-ish people. For reference, a modern destroyer, early broke-class destroyer, has about 300-ish. So again, we're significantly smaller than that too. We do more with less, as we say.
So it is significantly more efficient to operate one of these vessels.
I would say that, yeah. But it also means that, right, we've kind of maximized the efficiency of each sailor and what they're doing and what their training is. So, again, our sailors are extremely well trained for the jobs they're doing on board this ship, and are very, very good at doing them and motivated to be here because of all the training they've been through.
Does the crew tend to be people like you who have served on at least another ship, been in the Navy for several years, have pretty high ratings, or are there a certain amount of non-rates of people still in training on board too?
Most of the crews actually has been around the Navy for a while. However, we do actually have some very junior sailors that are deck seamen, our cooks, several other positions this is their first ship, and it's a heck of a first ship to have, and in fact, a first job to bring a ship into the Navy actually is your first ship. So, I can't imagine from their perspective of this is their first exposure to the Navy, but they're very happy to be here, and I think they're very excited to be a part of this as it is. So. But yeah, from my perspective, though, a lot of us that have been on other ships, we're all sitting here comparing it to our last ship and kind of stacking it and stuff. And I'll tell you, I'd ride this thing in the battle any day over my old ship. So this is something I'm probably not going to get in a lot of details with. Suffice to say, we have modern weaponry. The LCSs that have deployed have been outfitted with some of the newer anti-ship missiles that the Navy's fielded, and I think pretty much that would give me an edge even over 1980s armed New Jersey. And plus, we have just the array of sensors that I have, even just on board with the helidet and stuff, like you can't match that. I'm sorry, Ryan. Like, you can't match that on your battleship. But another thing, like back to the navigation piece, I can go much shallower water than you, and I can go a lot faster than the Battleship New Jersey could, and reasonably and I can navigate a lot faster than you can as well. One thing we actually, in my pipeline and the other officer's pipeline to drive the ship, is a specialized OD school for driving a high-speed vessel like this. And really, we're very well trained to execute some of the maneuvering we would do in those kind of situations. So my first tactic would be to suck you into shallow water and run to your ground. Because, we've seen battleships do that in the past, and I think I got a good chance of making that happen.
It's true. Iowa-class battleships don't do well in the mud.
That's right. And the other Hail Mary I guess I could throw is just wait for night and kind of constricted waters and then just come out and and do a knife fights like that at close range. But that's anyone's game really there. So
True. At close range, armor doesn't count for anything.
And we have no armor to lose. So but yeah, that's kind of my take on that. But I'm sure your commenters will have a lot to say on that issue. That's fine.
Who do you think wins? An entirely modern surface ship like USS Savannah here behind me, or an ancient battleship like my beloved New Jersey? Let us know in the comment section down below. Battleship New Jersey receives operating support from the New Jersey Department of State, also from a number of other businesses and private individuals like yourself. We really appreciate your support. It allows us to go on cool trips like this to see other, maybe future museum ships.
Maybe.
So if you'd like to continue to support us, there's a link in the description below to donate, and you can also support us by liking, sharing, and subscribing so that more people find out about our museum and our channel. Lieutenant Pfeiffer, thank you for your time today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ryan. Appreciate you being here.
Thanks for watching.